So for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you're not a total idiot and you didn't spend $3,000 to $5,000 on a CNC with very little woodworking experience like I did. I'm also going to assume that you haven't paid that CNC off or you wouldn't be watching this video. Now I'm going to show you, just like our last video, all the tricks we used to pay off our CNC in 20 days. Our CNC arrived on January 20th, and by February 15th, we had completely paid off that CNC. So we started with catch-all trays. One, because they were pretty easy to design. Two, they were fast to make, and I can make them completely unique, so I knew that nobody would have seen them online before. And I think that was the secret to our success. When we first started, we had zero social media. They were brand new accounts. We created about 30 or 40 trays and started posting them online. Any that got good engagement were good indicators for us that those are the ones that we'd want to put money behind as far as advertising. So we're going to make another catch-all tray today. We're going to target another unique niche, this time weddings, because that's something that, one, especially online, people will buy for gifts. And we also know that the price point of those gifts are usually $50 to $100. I also want to show you how easy it is to manipulate things in VCarve Pro without any real experience. In my last video, somebody pointed out that I just went on Google and stole a picture of a key. And they're right. I mean, you really shouldn't be taking other people's artwork, and that can come back to bite you. So I wanted to show you starting from scratch and not having really any art skills, being able to manipulate shapes into making a custom tray. So I should also mention that when we started, we used Easel, mostly because it was free, but also because it ran on our Mac. We very quickly upgraded to Easel Pro so that we could use the VCarve feature. And we used that for over a year without any complaints. But then in February of 2024, we were given a trial copy of VCarve Pro. And I was reluctant to install Windows and Parallels on my Mac, but I finally did. And man, do I regret not switching over sooner. It was so much more accurate and easy to use. And it sped up my cut times by like 50% because you could control every action that the bit takes. We ended up purchasing a second CNC in the September of the first year because we were operating 12 hours a day and we were producing as much as we could possibly produce. But if we knew now what we knew then, just upgrading to VCarve would have cut our cut times in half and we would have been able to produce twice as many products. So I can't recommend VCarve Pro enough. But I do understand that when you're first starting, like the price tag of that can be a little intimidating. So you might as well try on something free just to prove proof of concept to be able to produce and sell products. Now, I did mention in the last video that the purpose of these videos is to help you create your own unique products. That being said, I did put the files for sale on our website and a whole bunch of you bought them, which is awesome. So I'll do the same with this video as well. And as long as you keep buying them, I'll keep putting them up there. But again, I can't stress this enough. If you want to make real money with your CNC, design and create your own unique product to you, and you'll beat everybody else to market with it. That being said, let's go into VCarve and design a new tray. So I did have some time to think about this one, and I was thinking a catch-all tray for a wedding. And because we're using simple shapes, I'm just going to make a pair of rings. That way there's a tray for his and hers. Or hers and hers, or his and his. I don't know. I don't judge when I'm making money. So I just grabbed the circle tool, and then I'm going to use the offset tool, and I'm going to make a couple additional rings inside and outside of this one. So there's our finished ring. Now we're just going to copy paste. We're going to make a duplicate of that, move it over. And then we'll grab our interactive trim tool and we'll just trim away some of these lines so it makes it look like these rings are interlocked. Perfect. So now we'll see we have two interlocked rings creating a catch-all tray. But I also want to add a diamond. So because we're just using shapes, I know a diamond is mostly triangles, I'm just going to figure it out. I'll start with a square and then I'll remove some of the points and I got a perfect triangle here. And I'm just going to manipulate it using the rotate tool. I'll use array copy just so they're all uniform. Again, a lot of copy paste. I'm just playing around here to try and make a diamond. Again, remember, like none of this has to be absolutely perfect because this is going to be unique to you. You know exactly how much space you're going to put in between every line. Maybe something's offset a little bit or just not quite perfect. You're going to know that you made this file and it is your file. Now, this part was a little tricky, and I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but honestly, I just made some lines, moved them over a little bit, and then used the interactive trim to remove that blank space I wanted. But come on, I mean, look at this. Tell me that doesn't look like a diamond. That's a diamond. Now I'm just going to move it into position, create another offset around it, and then use the interactive trim to remove the excess area that I don't want. So there we go. Now I'm going to add probably the most crucial part is the customization. So I'm just going to put a name in there. Now I thought about this a couple times. I could have made a permanent spot for these to go in, but because we're going to be making these unique for everybody that purchases one, I thought it'd be better to make the text itself and then make an offset around that text. So it really does look like this tray is custom for this individual. And finally, we're going to use the interactive trim again just to connect it to the rest of the tray. And there you have it, a completely unique custom tray for a unique niche, weddings. So now we just need to cut it out. So just like last time, I'm going to add an offset path. 0.2 inches will be fine. And then just use a flattening bit. I use the same bit that I used to hog out the material, which is a 1/2 inch straight flute. And I'm going to cut it 0.02 inches down. And the reason we do this is because we're engraving on it and I want it to be perfectly flat on the surface. And remember, because we're only taking off a very small amount of material, we can really crank up the speed. Next, we're going to cut out our trays. So you select both of those. We're going to do a pocket path. We're going to start at 0.02 inches. And I'm going to make this tray 0.6 inches deep. And then lastly, for the tray itself, I'm going to put a final pass and I'm going to crank up the speed and the step over to about 10%. And that's going to clear out the bottom of the tray and I'll need very little sanding, if any. And remember, this one's going to start at 0.62 inches. And then we only need to take off another small amount. So 0.02 inches will be fine. Next, we're going to do our V-carve. So we're going to select all the areas that we want to V-carve. And this one here, again, we're going to start at 0.02 after our clearance. And then I like to make it about 0.11 deep with my 90-degree V-bit. And because it's taking out a lot of material, I'm also going to add in a clearance tool. So I've added a 1/8 inch end mill just to clear out that big gap. And finally, we're just going to add a profile cut on the outside of our line for the exterior of the tray. And here we go, completely unique 2-tray custom catch-all tray. Now, this one here is a little different than the realtor tray we did because that one I could really see selling bulk. But this one works perfect for online sales because people want to buy unique gifts for a wedding. Now you could figure out a way to sell these in bulk. I would think something like maybe wedding planners or somebody else that would be dealing with a lot of weddings and then also be giving a gift for that wedding. But honestly, this would be a really easy tray to sell online. You just have to make a couple of them as examples, take really good photos, and then run ads with those photos. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we will be offering this file available on our website. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee, that'd be great. But no obligation. Honestly, the whole purpose of this video is for you to be able to make your own files and pay off your CNC. So I'm not going to cut this one out. So if you do something similar or you buy our files, you'll be first to market. And if you do end up selling a bunch and you pay off your CNC, please let us know because I'd love to brag about it. So obviously there's a lot more involved in making sales than just having unique products. And in future videos, we're going to cover some of the next steps. Some of those being where to sell and how to sell. But you want to be confident that you're going to have products that will give you the best chance. Marina and I both worked for Shopify for a combined total of 8 years. But just because we work for Shopify doesn't mean that that's the best place to sell stuff. And we'll cover all the options that we know of and what's given us success and what's failed for us. But that's pretty much it for this video. Now, I really do hope that you got something from it. As I said, some of the people bought files already. So if you start making sales, please let us know. Now, if you think we've missed anything or we got something wrong, or there's something that we haven't covered yet and you want to see, let us know in the comments below. Other than that, please subscribe and thanks for watching.